Hello, I'm Chandra Cost and I'm with Beacons of Light. And today I have Alice Harley, and she's a psychic and a medium. Alice, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Chandra. So, as Chandra's just said, my name is Alice Harley. I am a psychic medium, and as you can probably tell from the accent, I'm from Scotland in the UK, and I've been a practicing medium for a number of years now. So, yeah.
Okay. And you want to go over some of the stuff that you cover and that you have that you are just a little bit, some of where they can find you, and then we'll add that at the end again.
Okay. Yeah, so I am predominantly on the online platform for people to find me. I have a Facebook page, business page called Soul Fusion, and the URL to get to Soul Fusion is Alice Harley Medium. So through there, I do offer one-to-one readings, psychic mediumship readings. I also do other esoteric practices such as tarot, numerology, and I'm always looking to expand, but predominantly it is one-to-one readings in a professional setting. I also do teach in a development group locally. However, because I do a lot of work with American clients, I'm very much looking to extend into the online sphere through Zoom, and look to see where I can take that and offer wider services, particularly in a development setting.
Okay, thank you. And if you want to go ahead, if whatever you feel you'd like to share about your spiritual journey with the audience.
Yeah, certainly. So it's quite a long and varied journey that I've been on. Ever since I was a young child, as far back as the age of 4 that I can remember, I could see and speak to spirit just as I can with anyone else in the physical. And then it got to a point where it scared me and I closed off, which I know happens to a lot of mediums when they have seen from a young age. So I closed off to that, still at quite a young age, but over the years, particularly into my teenage years, I did have a number of experiences which actually scared me. And at the time, I didn't understand, but now looking back and understanding how the subconscious mind works now, I appreciate that those experiences I had growing up weren't designed to scare me. It's just that was my subconscious mind's way of interpreting what was actually happening. So I tried to live a normal as possible childhood. The usual things come in, particularly how do you fit in at school? Did children understand me? I always felt that I was on the outside, but not understanding why. But anyway, I grew up and fast forwarding into my 20s, I was in what I thought was a loving relationship. And then everything came crashing down to the point where it was so traumatic that I shut myself off to the world. So I basically lived, ate, slept, and went to work. And that was my life for roughly a 3 year period. And I can't explain, I know everybody goes through grief when they lose a loved one, um, or traumatic events can happen. I can't really explain to the level of detail of the trauma that was caused through the breakup of my relationship at the time. Um, but so much so, by closing myself off, I was actually spending a lot of time in my house on my own, going into what I would call as daydreams initially. And through the daydreams, which I've now realised was a form of trance, but didn't know that at the time, I was able to find peace and tranquility from within. And as I said, this was over a nearly a 3 year period. Sorry, someone's letting off fireworks outside. If you can
Oh,
hear a
I
lot of
can.
noises. Um, but yeah, so over that period of time and going into what I would call as trance unknowingly, my mind began to relax, and through that period, I found peace. like peace in every area of my life, which, as that was unraveling, I started becoming more sensitive to spirit, as I did when I was a young child. And through that sensitivity, I was aware, just through a knowing, that my great grandmother was standing beside me. I was then starting, I was going to bed in the evening, and it started happening continuously, night after night. Faces started appearing, just floating in and floating out. And I never questioned it. I just accepted, oh, this is a new experience. But the more and more it happened, the more I was being opened up to swirling colours and things flashing up in front of my face. And again, just thinking, wow, this is an interesting experience. But again, not connecting dots as to there's a whole realm of psychic and mediumship, people and experiences and situations that exist. So it got to a point one evening. I did go to bed, but I was still very much awake at the point, and there was a number of very vivid flashing images came in front of my face, involving a motorway and a tragic accident near a farm. And I thought, that's very strange, but I knew it wasn't my own thoughts. So the next day I had told my mum, and I told one of my friends, and I says to them, this is going to sound crazy, but I went to bed and I seen these images, and I've just got a really bad feeling something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think they thought I was a bit crazy at that point, as one would. So anyway, I forgot about it, and then 3 days later, there was a tragic accident exactly on the motorway near where I said, and that really freaked me out at the time, and I was in floods of tears, thinking, why did I see this, etc., etc. And again, spoke to my mum and my friend, and they're like, oh, it's just one of those things that happens. So that was it. I tried to put it to the side, and then it was a whole week after that, an interesting thing happened. I'd been at work and I'd come home. It was 5:30 p.m. ish, and I was in the kitchen doing something, and I turned round and there was a boy standing in my house, and I screamed. I thought, who are you? And he disappeared. And then it was after that I put two and two together and went looking for the news articles on what had happened in the motorway the week prior. And sure enough, it was a young boy who'd been knocked down and killed, sadly, on the motorway, was the boy that came to visit me in my house. So I started thinking, wow, this is a very interesting experience. And by joining all the dots, my life started to make sense. And also that there's a bigger purpose to life. It's not all about us. Yeah. So this energetic weight that I think I'd been carrying around my whole life lifted. And I thought, I found my purpose. Yeah. So from that moment on, I thank this boy, and I know he plays a part from the spirit world in my journey as a medium. But from that moment on, everything just started to flow in constantly, to the point where I was excited by it, not scared of it. So I went on the route of finding my own development journey and like-minded people. So I joined a development group, and for the first time I actually felt I fitted in with people. It's like, wow, people actually have these experiences. And it was great. I didn't feel silly talking about it. People listened, and then we were given tools and exercises to do, and it just felt right. So that was probably the start of my development journey. So that was maybe 9 years ago. So from there, it sort of just progressed. I've sat in circles. I've trained with a number of the Art of Findlay College tutors, and more recently, my friend who's a medium had a group. So through that, developing further, and now I teach as well. So it's come full circle. But also, it's interesting that through developing myself, not just mediumistically, but also looking at the personal development side of things, which I feel is really important to be um, as clear a channel as you can by releasing your own traumas and getting everything out of the way so you're a better conduit for spirit. I started looking at the science of mediumship and where that plays a role in terms of spirit and energy and spirit source and the collective consciousness, which is now taking me off on another journey of looking at the whole aspect of higher intelligence and what that actually means for us as an individual, but also as a collective, and how by putting our intention in the right place to help people through grief or through situations in the moment, there's such an intelligence to what we're doing that, yeah, it's just so enriching. And that's basically, yes, where I've come from and where I am at the moment. So yes, it's been a wonderful, strange but wonderful journey to this point.
Oh, well, thank you for your story. That's very interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do you have any ethics or morals, responsibilities that you might follow when you're working, or that you feel are important, maybe to share? And if you don't have none, that's all right too. But
Yes. So what I would say is, did, as well as doing one-to-one readings, I should have mentioned as well, I also do platform demonstrations, and I have done some online, and more so around the spiritual churches and local places. So it very much depends on if you're approaching a reading on a one-to-one basis or in a public setting. But I always would approach it in a way that I would explain how I work first and foremost. And so basically it's setting the parameters, but letting your audience or participant know what can and can't be expected, or what is and what could happen or won't happen during a reading, basically, so there's a mutual understanding of what's going on. I also would explain about the energy. So it's a two-way process, it's not just up to the medium. So the higher the vibration can be lifted in energy, that of the recipient as well, it makes things flow so much better. If it's something that is difficult to speak about, obviously it's about how it's approached, or reassuring the individual that you're working with, if they want to venture down there, or not. But obviously there's an intelligence to spirit, so they'll know how far to take that conversation. The other part, particularly when you're doing a public demonstration, is being mindful of personal information and how that's relayed, particularly within a public setting. But if there is some aspect that does arise, and you know it's not the right place or the right time, I would openly say to the person, there's some specific or personal information. Would it be okay that I spoke to you at the end? So you're not putting any pressure or revealing anything that could be detrimental to that person at that point. So yeah, it's really important to set the scene so there's an expectation of both parties.
okay, thank you. And well, this may fall under what you do for like the open platforms, but any ceremony prayers that maybe you do daily before you work? And it doesn't have to, like, I journal every day, so I mean it can be whatever.
Do you know, I used to do daily meditation, and open up to spirit, but I don't do any of that now because I've come through so many, or overcome so many personal obstacles, and developed to a point both mediumistically and within myself that I'm fully confident and fully happy that I'm supported by spirit, and that by setting the intention, I know the right information will come. So, although I don't do anything on a daily, as a daily practice, what I do before, more so before a public demonstration, but in a one-to-one setting as well, I'll just take a moment and turn my attention to spirit and say that I completely surrender to spirit. Please give me what the recipient needs. So by setting that intention, I just have to wait and imagine myself being covered in a beautiful white light, and then spirit will give me a sign. Now I know it's different for everybody. Some people may have a visual, a hearing, a touch, a sensation. Spirit for me give me a sign by touching the top of my head, and that's my signal. I'm ready to work. And throughout the night, so if I'm doing a public demonstration during that hour or so, I know that everything that comes out my mouth is from spirit. It's not me. So that works. That works for me.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful that they just give you a touch. I've heard some people get some crazy feelings and they don't like them, but they know that's spirit signal to them. Like I think the one guy I listened to gets like it feels like a spider web, like when you walk into a spider web. And I thought, ooh, I don't know that I would like that, but I like the light touch.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Um, and have you had any, if you want to go over any people that maybe have helped you? You did say you work with a friend or a medium, I think it was, but books or whatever you would like to share with somebody that might help them.
So for me personally, and this is a terrible thing to say, I'm not great with the books. I've purchased so many books, and I tend not to read them. I think it's more because I like the practical experience.
Yep.
I'm also quite a skeptical person as a medium as well, so I have to try and experience for myself before I can fully feel into it or think, yeah, this feels right. So for me, it's been very much working with a number of different teachers, a number of different tutors, whether that's been on a local basis or with after Findlay College. Again, it's good to sample everything. Not everything's going to resonate with any and every individual. It's about taking what feels right to you and disregarding the rest. So I'd definitely say try out different teachers, try out different methods and see what feels right. With my friend, she has her own business in her own right, but through the development group locally, that's been a great help to me. So for a couple of years, she was also my mentor, and she introduced me to the world of platform and demonstrations initially, and now I teach alongside her. So that's been a great journey in itself. The other thing I would say is I've joined over the years a number of different mediumship Facebook groups where you get to meet a lot of lovely, wonderful people. And a lot of, in the early days before I was doing it professionally, I spent practicing, doing energy exchange work with like-minded people to build up that confidence, whilst also building up your portfolio and understanding the energy and how spirit works with me as well. So yeah, definitely joining groups, trying out with different tutors and teachers and taking what works for you. If you're an avid book reader, great. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Not everybody is. So there's no judgment. Is there any advice that you want to give people or anything that these questions haven't covered that you would like to let somebody know?
I think, particularly for when you're starting out, because everybody has their own unique and individual experience, it can be difficult to pinpoint or give exact advice. But what I would say to everybody, or two clear fundamentals, is be patient. Be patient with yourself and be patient knowing that it will come and it will all connect together the further on the journey you come. But likewise, you can be a fantastic conduit for spirit, but a lot of the information that will come through spirit is very much based on your subconscious mind and your life experiences. So if a spirit's life experience doesn't align with my life experience, they're not going to use me in the same way as they would another medium. So it's about understanding your limitations and how that works with the spirit world. So personal development and clearing your own mind and knowing how well or how open you can be to be an effective conduit for the right spirit people to come in and put over their messages. I suppose the other big thing is, and again, just going back to what I said about my own experience, know that there are people and groups out there that can help you and you're not going crazy. Take what resonates, disregard what doesn't. But we are all part of something bigger. And we've got to all remember we're all spirit having a human experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's well said. Thank you. I like that. Well, thank you for all of your information. You're sharing your spiritual journey. Do you want to go ahead and cover your stuff again, your services, your soul fusion, and anything else you got going so they can find you? And I'll post that in the link.
Yeah, certainly. Thank you. So yes, so you can find me at Soul Fusion on Facebook, and the URL to that is Alice Harley Medium. If you would like to book in for a private consultation, a reading, I also do tarot and numerology. I'm happy to look at my calendar through the page. And likewise, I am looking, as I said, to open up to an online development and teaching platform via Zoom. So if there is anyone interested, again, messaging me through the page would be ideal. And if there is enough interest, I would be more than happy to set up an introductory Zoom session to basically discuss through how it works and what I can offer and what working with me from a development perspective may look like. And then, yeah, take it from there.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure to have you today.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I'm Chandra Cost with Beacons of Light with Alice Hurley, Psychic and Medium. You have a great day.